If you've always felt slightly out of place, like you were born into the wrong room or the wrong conversation, you probably don't realize this, but you see things others don't. You notice shifts in tone, micro expressions, energy changes. You've never quite fit in, and there's a psychological reason for that, but it's not what you think. Maybe you were the quiet one, not because you had nothing to say, but because you were studying everything, watching, listening, reading the space before you entered it. You felt different early in classrooms, at family gatherings, and friend groups where laughter felt slightly forced. You sensed tension before anyone admitted it. You could feel when someone was pretending. You knew when something wasn't right, even if you couldn't explain why. And sometimes that made you withdraw, not out of arrogance, not out of fear, but because reacting to everything you noticed would have been exhausting. You weren't too sensitive. You were just aware, and awareness feels isolating. You learned to think before you spoke, to replay conversations afterward, to analyze what was said and what wasn't. You outgrew environments quietly. Friendships that once felt aligned started to feel shallow. Conversations that revolved around gossip or surface-level drama began to drain you. You didn't become distant. You became discerning, and most people don't understand the difference. Here's the first truth. When you grow up learning to read emotional undercurrents, it's usually because you had to. Somewhere in your early life, stability wasn't guaranteed. Love may have been present, but unpredictable. Attention may have existed, but inconsistent. So you adapted. You became observant. You scanned faces for signs of mood changes. You listened for tension in voices. You prepared yourself before something shifted. This isn't weakness. It's intelligence under pressure. Most people move through life reacting. You learned to anticipate, and anticipation creates distance. The second truth is quieter. When you see through things easily, you stop being impressed by them. You notice when confidence is performance, when charm is strategy, when kindness has conditions. That doesn't make you cynical. It makes you perceptive. But perception changes how you relate. Because once you see the strings, you can't pretend they aren't there. This is what emotional intelligence looks like in its raw form. Not loud, not flashy, just deeply aware. There's another layer to this. You probably felt older than your age at some point, more reflective than your peers, less interested in chaos. That's because your mind was processing more than most people's were. You weren't just living experiences. You were analyzing them while they happened. And that creates depth. But depth doesn't always find company easily. Most social circles are built around comfort, shared habits, familiar patterns. You were built around growth, questioning, meaning, and growth often disrupts comfort. Here's something else few people say out loud. When you're highly aware, you struggle with belonging in environments that reward unconscious behavior. You notice manipulation. You notice passive aggression. You notice insecurity disguised as dominance. And instead of joining it, you step back. Not because you think you're better, but because it doesn't sit right in your nervous system. Your body reacts before your mind forms words. Tight chest, heavy silence, an urge to leave. That's not overthinking. That's alignment speaking. But here's the part no one talks about. This is where it becomes lonely. Awareness separates. Growth separates. Maturity separates. As you evolve, certain dynamics stop fitting. Certain friendships feel smaller. Certain conversations feel rehearsed. And when you quietly step back, people may call you distant, cold, changed. They won't see that you simply can't shrink anymore. This is why growth feels heavier before it feels freeing. You start realizing that not everyone can go where you're going, not because they're incapable, but because they're comfortable. Comfort is powerful. It keeps people in patterns for years, sometimes decades. You, on the other hand, feel restless when you stop evolving. You sense stagnation like others sense boredom, and that restlessness can make you question yourself. Am I too serious? Too deep? Too intense? No, you're tuned in. Another quiet truth. When you're emotionally perceptive, you often become the stable one, the listener, the advisor, the calm presence in chaos. People come to you with their problems. They unload. They trust you. But they rarely ask what you carry, because you don't show it easily. You learned early that your role was to manage the emotional temperature of the room. That role follows you into adulthood, in relationships, in friendships, at work. You become the one who holds space. But holding space without being held is exhausting. And sometimes the dark reason you've always felt different is because you were never meant to stay small enough to blend in. You were adapting, evolving, outgrowing, while others were maintaining. There's a difference. Here's another layer beneath it all. You likely have a strong internal compass. You know when something feels right. You know when something feels off. And you've probably ignored it before. To fit in, to keep peace, to avoid conflict. But every time you betrayed that inner signal, you felt it. A quiet disappointment in yourself. That's not self-criticism. That's integrity trying to speak. Most people can override their instincts for approval. You struggle to do that because the dissonance lingers. This isn't social awkwardness. This is psychological maturity trying to stabilize. As you grow, you begin to see patterns clearly. Family patterns, relationship patterns, generational habits. You recognize what was passed down unconsciously, and you make a decision, even if it's silent. It stops with me. That decision alone sets you apart. Breaking patterns changes how people respond to you. When you no longer play the expected role, the system reacts. If you were the peacemaker and you start setting boundaries, there will be resistance. If you were the quiet one and you start speaking clearly, there will be discomfort. Growth disrupts dynamics, and disruption feels like distance at first. But what feels like isolation is often transformation in progress. You're not losing connection, you're refining it. You're not becoming cold, you're becoming clear, and clarity reduces the number of spaces where you can comfortably exist, but it increases the depth of the spaces that remain. This is the paradox. The more self-aware you become, the fewer people you resonate with superficially, but the connections you do form feel real, grounded, safe. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. Becoming someone who doesn't need noise to feel alive. Someone who doesn't confuse attention with intimacy. Someone who values peace over performance. That kind of evolution is subtle. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't demand applause. It just quietly changes your standards. And yes, sometimes that means sitting alone on a Friday night. Sometimes it means declining invitations that once felt important. Sometimes it means choosing growth over belonging. But belonging built on shrinking was never real belonging. You were never too much. You were just unwilling to be less. The dark reason you've always felt different is that you were developing awareness in environments that rewarded unconsciousness. You were growing emotionally in spaces that preferred emotional avoidance. That gap creates tension, but it also creates strength. Because once you see clearly, you can choose clearly. You can build relationships intentionally. You can set boundaries without guilt. You can walk away without rage. That's not detachment. That's integration. If this resonated with you, It means you've been carrying more awareness than most, and you've probably been carrying it quietly. You're not strange for feeling different. You're not flawed for needing depth. You're not difficult for wanting honesty. You are simply conscious in places where many are still asleep to themselves, and that path can feel solitary at times. But it is not empty. It is deliberate. It is steady. It is real. Maybe you were never meant to blend in. Maybe you were meant to see clearly, to break patterns, to choose differently. Maybe you were never too sensitive. Maybe you were just aware.